Hello, my dear friends, student, well-wishers, and anyone who is listening this lecture. Today I am going to talk about the topic population ecology. Date today 10th May 2025. And population ecology is a part of the CVCS course of PG second semester in the CC5 and the UG fourth semester MJC7 Geology course. I am Dr. Vidvikas Dubey, Assistant Professor in the Department of Geology of the SRKG College Sitamarhi, Bihar. So, and this presentation has been adopted from the book of the Neil Campbell and Jan Rees Biology, 8th edition. And all the presentation can be found on the website, its website also, and on the internet also. So, I am going to talk about today different concept, definitions, terms used in the population ecology first. Then I will discuss about what are the different mechanism of population dynamics and how with certain examples and how the population is changing and how it is affected by the both biotic factor as well as abiotic factors. Let us begin with the first slide. So what is population ecology? So it is the study of population in relation to the environment. That is the uh, people, animal group of animal living together at one place, how they are interacting with their environment. It also includes environmental influences on the density and distribution, age structure, and population size. So these are the different terms: density, distribution, age structure, and population size. I will define them later on in the later slides. So first, a population. To whom you will call a population? So population is a group of individuals of a single species living in the same general area. So group of individuals of a single species living in the same general area. So that I am living in the Sitamarhi and in the main city. If I say the population of total dog in Sitamarhi, yeah, the number of dogs living together in the Sitamarhi district of the Sitamarhi urban area, that is known as population. So in this population, I am taking in the account of the whole of the Sitamarhi city population of the dog. I may come to the for smaller animal to the small area of the population, like the population of squirrel in the Goenka college. How many squirrels are there? So in that way, we can say that we can define the area and we can define the size of the population. So the dynamic biological processes. What are the different dynamic biological processes which influence population, its density, dispersion, and demographics? So how we define the density? It is the number of individuals per unit area or volume. Number of people living at a particular place, that is known as density. Just like in a classroom, if there are 50 students are sitting at a time in a day in a given area of about 100 square feet, then we will say that density of the classroom is 100 per square unit. Dispersion is the pattern of spacing among individuals within the boundary of the same population. Again, if the 10 people are living, then there are 50 people in a classroom, whether they are sitting in a clump, like the aggregation, or they are sitting regularly on the bench. Each bench having certain number of the people. So that we call as a dispersion. The dispersion may be of different type, concentrated, diffuse, or in the regular way. So we will define it later on. So another we will come to the density is the result of interplay with the processes that add individual to the population. Okay. Density is the result of interplay between the different processes that add individual to the population and then those that remove population. So density of a population, yeah, at any given time and given area increases or decreases depending upon certain factors. If the maybe population is coming from outside or leaving the population, so we will use different terms for that one. Let us see what is that. First is immigration. That is immigration. what you say, immigration, I. It is the influx of new individual from other areas. Influx of new individual from the other areas. So in immigration, people come from outside to the, yeah, animal come from one place to another place and then increase the population or density of the people in that area. Immigration is the movement of individual out of the population. So by this, it has a negative impact, it has a positive impact. In most cases, it is impractical or impossible to count all individuals in the population. So if the population area is very big, just like you see the Sitamarhi area, Sitamarhi district, total district area. What is the population? It is about 50 lakh individual of the human beings are living there. But they are not living in a, we cannot say, we cannot count everybody in a moment of time. So we have to take a sample. Few, we will choose some area in the Chitamari district. We will count the number of people there, and on that way we will define the, we will extrapolate that data and estimate the total population of the area. So in most cases, it is impractical or impossible to count all individuals in the population. And sampling techniques can be used to estimate density and total population size. So population size can be estimated by either extrapolation. Suppose I count in a area of 500 meter to 500 meter and I found 1000 people. I may say that in the area of the 600 kilometers, the people will be there 30 lakh people. So the, can be estimated by either extrapolation from a small sample or index of the population size. That mark capture method, or known as mark capture method. So the population dynamics is controlled by dependent, yeah, it is a phenomenon which is the result of the four different aspects of the four different processes. First one is birth. That is how many children are getting birth. Suppose it is a bird population. There are about 4 to 8 birds are there, and their population may increase or decrease on different pattern, different factors. First one is there are two factors on the right left hand side, the birth of the new one and the immigration of the new individual to the population, and similarly the death of the some individual and the immigration of some individual all will control the size of the population. So population it is not a static one, so it is in equilibrium, it may be equilibrium, yeah, it may be dynamic, it is changing, constantly changing. New people are added, new individuals are coming into it, some old individuals are dying due to the death, natural death, or some artificial death, forced death, or someone are leaving the population group and going out of the population. And in that way, they decreasing the number of people in the population. So population dynamics is controlled by four: birth, immigration. They have the positive input, while the death and immigration have the negative output. So it is a input from the left side, and from the right side it is a output. So population is dynamics is affected by all the four terms. Birth, that is also known as birth rate, that is natality, and death rate, that is known as mortality. Immigration, the incoming of the individual from the outside, and immigration, the outgoing of individual from the population. The pattern of dispersion. Now we will come to the dispersion. How the population, individuals of a particular population in the given area are distributed. So environment, it is affected by both environment as well as the social behavior factor, the spacing of individual in the population. So it is a clumped dispersion. Clumped means people have gathered at a particular place. Okay? In a clumped dispersion, individual aggregate in a biases. A column diffusion may be influenced by the resource availability and it may be the possibility that in a given area the resource that is like water or food is present at a particular place in the geographical area, and all the animal or plant will be growing at that place. So that is kind of the clumped population. An uniform dispersion is the one in which individuals are evenly distributed, and it may be influenced by social interactions such as territoriality. So an uniform dispersion means the people in a given area are distributed evenly. Means the one factor what you can say, the resources are present everywhere in that given area, and people have no competition and no fight between each other, liking or disliking, so they can live brilliant in a given place. So unified dispersion is one in which individuals are evenly distributed. So it may be also influenced by some social interactions such as territoriality. Suppose that I am living in a room, I don't allow anybody to enter into that room. So that will I will come airtight, it is a my space. So that is known as territorial. So every individual makes own territoriality at a given place. Like human beings. Human beings live in their own house. They make address for that, and they put their name plate on the outside that this is my home. You cannot come inside without my permission. So it is a kind of territoriality. Everybody maintains territoriality. In a random dispersion means what? The people are scattered into the area without any interaction with other. So it is random, and there is no attraction or repulsion between the people. So the populations are distributed and their positions are changing constantly. That is known as random dispersion. So suppose like that this one, we have three example for that one. Pattern of dispersion within the population's geographic range. First one is clumped population. If you see the starfish, small starfish, lying on the bottom of the sea in a group on that at particular place only. So that is known as clumped population. It means some resources are the bed, the lying bed is comfortable at this place so that the starfishes are clumping together at one point. Now see the uniform population. The penguin basking on the seaside, seabank. In the Antarctic, these penguins are lying on the beach of the sea, on the ice berth, in even condition, so that they get the enough amount of sunlight or food sources, and this is known as uniform dispersion. And third one is random. Random means that you see the grassland. In this grassland, the grasses, flowers are blooming here and there, and they are getting everywhere, getting the ample sunlight, and there is no correlation between the amount of sunlight coming here or there. They are just growing as they have their seeds have been sown there, or they have found themselves suitable. So it is random, it may change at other places. So the demographics. What is demographics? So it is simply that demography is the study of vital statistics of a population and how they change over time. That is the changes occurring in the population in individual a population size due course of time at a particular given area. So it is affected by again demography is affected by the two main causes, that is death rate, the rate at which the people are dying, and the birth rate, that the rate how people are getting produced in the new progeny are coming are of particular interest to the demographics. So another one is the immigration and immigration, but we do not consider them too much. The main importance is given to the death rate and birth rate, that is mortality and natality. So life table and survivorship curve. So we will study about this one. What is life table? So it is a summary of the survival pattern of a population at a given area and in a given time period. Okay, in a given time period, at a given time period and given area, what is the different age groups are living together. It is best made by following the fate of a cohort. What is cohort? A cohort is a group of individuals of the same age. Suppose that I follow the today there are about 50 births in a hospital and 50 individuals have been produced, new one born have got the birth. Now I will follow these 50 individuals of the same day birth. The 50 individuals were born on the 10th of the May, and from 10th of the May I will follow their development, how they are growing, what they are their size after 5 years, after 10 years, after 20 years, how many have survived, how many have died. So the 50 individual will constitute a cohort, that group of individuals of the same age, and survival, their life table will be that from a time period of the about you can say the 0 year to the 50 year, how they are growing. So whether everyone is surviving or somebody is going to die at certain stage. At the end of the 50 years, how many individuals have been left. So we will call it as a life table. That is also known as survivorship curve. It is a graphic way of representing the data in a life table. So life table is constructed and there's a curve. One curve is made. You will see how it looks like in the next slide. So this one, it is a survivorship curve for a squirrel, shows relatively constant death rate. What you see? So there is we are seeing the span of the year 0 to 8 years. In the beginning of the time, the number of survivors means there are 1,000 squirrels have taken the birth. At the 0 time year, the first year, there are about 1,000 squirrels are there. But as their age is increasing, the population is decreasing, both male and female population. If you see here, the both population have decreased to the about what is there a 1,000 population in the early life, early days. And then by the second year of age, most of the squirrels have died, both male and female. About you can say 80%, 90%, and 95% squirrels have died. And if you see again, by the end of the 4 year of the age, what you find, the number of surviving, what you say, so number of surviving squirrel we are now very less, and even the males are showing more more drastic death rate. And by the age of the 6, we cannot see any male surviving. So a male have died by the 5 year of the age, while a female still continue to survive, and they have a constant death rate throughout their life age year. That is up to by 8 years, they are dying at a constant death rate. Okay, so the survivorship curve for squirrel shows relatively constant death rate. Okay, but in case of female, it is very elaborate. It is even few squirrels are surviving by the age of the 8 year, after the 8 years age, while the males have completed died by the end of 5 year age. So survivorship can be classified into three general types. It can be of three different types. Type 1, that is low death rate during early and middle life, then an increase among other ages. Means in type 1 kind of the survivorship curve, the death rate is very little in the early life or in the middle age of the individual. But at the later on, as old age approaches, many of them die. Type 2 type, death rate is constant over the earlier life span. Means the peoples are dying at the constant rate from the beginning of the birth to the last time of the age. Type 3 is high death rate among the young, then a slower death rate due to the survival. So I am welcome back. I am back from the work. So it was the survivorship curve we were talking earlier, and again, so we will know the reproductive rate. What is reproductive rate? For a species with sexual reproduction, demographers often concentrate on female in a population and find out how many eggs she is laying at a time or how many young ones she is giving birth. A reproductive table of fertility schedule is an age-specific summary of the reproductive rate in a population. It describes reproductive pattern of a population when they reproduce. So, so life history traits are product of natural selection. So, an organism's life history comprises the traits that affect its schedule of reproduction and survival. Age at which, so every animal has a distinct age at which the reproduction start. How and how many times in the life the animal reproduce, and how many offsprings are produced during each reproductive cycle. So based on this, some animal start reproducing once they attain the adult stage. Some start reproducing just after birth, and how often they reproduce. If they are reproducing daily, monthly, annually, half yearly, quarterly, or sometime in the life, and how many offsprings are produced during each reproductive, means how many young ones are produced or how many eggs have been laid by the female during their each reproductive cycle. So a life history includes all the functions: the age at which the reproduction begins, and how often they reproduce, and how much they reproduce in each reproductive cycle. So life history characters and traits are evolutionary output reflected in the development, physiology, and behavior of the organism. So it is all it depended upon the how the animal has evolved throughout the year, and all these are the adaptation to its life, when it will start reproducing, and how much it will reproduce, and how much is how many young one will be given the birth. So life history are very diverse. Species that exhibit female parity. That is, female parity means or big bang reproductions. Means they reproduce only once in their life and then die. Female parity is also known as R selection. Sometimes the selection is of two types: R selection and K selection. The species that exhibit female parity or big bang reproduction, they produce suddenly and at a very large scale, and after that they die once and die. And some species, also known as heteropairous or exhibit heteroparity or repeated reproduction, they produce at regular intervals, and their young ones are produced at regular interval. Then that interval may be the monthly, annual, weekly, or after many years, but they will produce at many times. Third one is highly variable or unpredictable environment likely favor big bang reproduction. Means the female variety is found by those individuals, those animals here, species organism, who who face unfavorable environmental condition, and the favorable environmental condition used to come only once, and in that condition they reproduce at their maximum strength, and after that they die. Okay, and when the environments are more or less constant, there is not much change, the animal produce usually are longer periods at regular interval, and they are known as female parasitic, heteroparasitic. So on that basis, there are two kind of selection: R selection, that is known as female parity, and K selection, that is known as heteroparity. So we will see the certain examples are like that. Okay, you see the certain insect, after production they die, most of the insect, and produce huge number. So they come under female parasitic. And some of the animals are also there, they produce, we see later on. So the trade-off and life stage. Organisms have finite sources which may lead to trade-off between survival and, means the resources: light, water, food, and habitat is all limited for the animal, and because of limited resources, animal will compete with the other organisms, other individual of the same population, and they will fight together and to survive on the by other resources and their reproduction. So if they fight among themselves, they will get less time for the reproduction. So in animal, parental care of small broods may facilitate survival of this. Means if the animal show the parental care of their new young ones, they will be saved during their early lifetime. So they will survive in the early stage. Some plant like dandelion produce a large number of seedlings, ensuring that at least some of them will grow and eventually Like also there are some fishes. The fishes produce in the monsoon season, and at the same time, at single time, they produce millions of eggs in the water. When male comes and spray their sperm on that one, fertilization happens on the outside. Those eggs which get, some eggs get fertilized, some eggs don't get fertilized. Those eggs who get fertilized, they also have very little chance to survive. And by the end of it, they produce about 10 lakhs eggs. Only thousands or hundred will survive. So, if there is no parental care, the animal will show female-parous kind of the reproduction, and the selection will be like R selection. Other type of plant like coconut tree produce a moderate number of large seeds that provide a store of energy that will help seedlings become established. And another interesting point is there. Do you see the fruits are made for you, individual human beings to eat, or plant make their fruits for as a food security to the developing seed inside it. So all plant produce big seeds, big fruit, like papaya. If you say papaya, mango, so they have the pulp outside of their seed coat, and these pulp provide nutrition at the time of germination of those seeds. So the like animal produce young one in their uterus, showing the highest degree of parental care. The plant also produce seeds with a lot of food reserve with it, so that they can readily germinate when they get the favorable conditions. So this is a kind of trade-off. So variation in the size of seed crops in the plant, like dandelion one, this is the coconut palm. So this coconut palm contains enough nutrient for the coconut fruit to develop into new plant even after it is what swept away in the sea on the seashore into the seawater for longer time. So the exponential model describes population growth in an idealized unlimited environment. What is this one? It is the useful to study population growth in an idealized situation. Idealized situation help us understand the capacity of a species to increase and the condition that may facilitate the growth. Ideal condition is to give the maximum nutrition, maximum light resources to the individual, and see how much they reproduce by the given time. So the studying the ideal condition will be helpful. So the zero population growth. What is zero population growth? Occurs the net zero population. You will call it as a net